3 screens, wireless, broadband, and TV are coming together. Another innovation from AT&T. The new AT&T, your world, delivered.
Thanks for watching our internet edition of Nightline. I'm Terry Moran. He's sold tens of millions of books, novels that address the weighty matter of the end of the world as we know it. These books, the Left-Behind series they're called, are spiritual novels about biblical prophecies come true in the form of the rapture. And Tim LaHaye isn't just selling these books, he's a believer. The end.
God will come to take his people home. No one knows the day or the hour.
The end of everything, of the earth, of all life, the end of time itself.
Over. For those left behind, the apocalypse.
Is the end near?
It's very near. With the troubles in the Middle East, to cry out to us to understand that something is going on because it fits so many Bible prophecies.
Now we've got wars and rumors of wars, nation rising against nation. Israel is a hotbed. It could be tonight. It could be in 5 minutes. And I believe that, and I think we need to be ready now.
Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins are all about the end. They are the co-authors of a publishing phenomenon, the Left-Behind series of books, 12 wildly successful novels that imagine what the end of the world might look like if it happened today, right now, according to their evangelical Christian reading of the book of Revelation in the Bible. How many Left-Behind books have been sold?
In excess of 60 million.
More than 60 million?
It's 1 or 2, give or take.
That's right, 60 million plus books, including a kid's version of the series. And now there's a computer game, Left Behind, Eternal Forces, coming out next month, where you can fight the forces of the Antichrist in the streets of New York City. Oh, we did it. Yep. He did it. Look, our guy, he recruited him. Yes, in this game, you can defeat your enemies by praying at them. What's driving the Left-Behind phenomenon is a very simple idea, kind of literary trick, if you will, that LaHaye and Jenkins came up with. The books combine dense biblical prophecy with the page-turning techniques of a Tom Clancy thriller. People are reading the Bible as never before, and they have questions about the future, and we come along in a fictional way, present the truths in the book of Revelation. For LaHaye and Jenkins, that biblically prophesied future, their understanding of what their faith tells them, is going to be pretty grim for most of humankind. It's the rapture, the moment some Christians believe that all those on earth who have truly accepted Jesus Christ as God and Savior will be taken up from earth to heaven, their bodies restored and intact, as they show it here in the Left Behind movie. If the rapture were to happen right now, you'd disappear. Yes. My clothes would be here, my pacemaker and my false teeth and all the rest. You know, I'd leave it all behind because I'd get a new body fashioned, as the Apostle Paul said, like unto his glorified body. Wow. I can't wait for that experience. And then the neat thing is, it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. That is pretty neat. But if you aren't a born-again Christian, watch out. The tribulation begins, a really bad time for everyone who's been left behind after the rapture. The world gets taken over by the Antichrist, who turns out to be the Secretary General of the United Nations, and a struggle between the forces of good and evil ensues. The good guys win, of course, but there's a lot of violence and gore and fire and brimstone. The story says that for the unbelievers, it's pretty horrifying.
It is horrifying. One of the things that offends people about our books is that they are, if they're familiar with Jesus, they get all the love part. God is love, love your neighbor, the golden rule. They just haven't read the entire Bible. And we didn't make up the hard part.
The hard part. For many Christians, the Left Behind series is a kind of throwback to an older, fiercer, more judgmental faith. The fact that LaHaye and Jenkins portray so many millions, including all Jews and other non-Christians, as vividly and horribly damned, that's made the books controversial, but they are unapologetic. Now, Left Behind. There are some theologians who say that's kind of a cruel way to address believers and non-believers?
Well, that's their problem. I mean, a cruel way to help people prepare. It's like going to the doctor and saying, I've got this pain, and he diagnoses it as something that's operable, and they say, what a cruel response. You have to cut me? Well, what we're doing is we're trying to help people prepare for the eventuality that will take place.
For thousands of years, visions of heaven and hell and judgment have fired the imaginations of people. The Left Behind phenomenon is just the latest example of this deeply embedded dream or fear or desire in our culture.
An increasing number of people come to the perception that there is something fundamentally and radically wrong in the world in which we live.
Bill Dingus teaches the history of end-of-the-world speculation at Catholic University of America. He says one explanation for Left Behind's astounding popular success is the troubled state of the world.
To the degree that their life world, their sense of culture, their sense of society becomes more and more dominated by sex, violence, that adds more credence to this. There's something fundamentally wrong here. Something is radically out of control.
I'm trying to reach the ordinary people.
And that message is something Tim LaHaye has been preaching for decades. He was a co-founder of the Moral Majority along with Jerry Falwell. And all these years, he's fought against those he sees as enemies of Christianity. The success of Left Behind is sweet vindication.
Do you think that the success of these books, do you discern the hand of God in that?
Yes, I discern several things. One of which is that there are a lot more Christians in this world, or in this country, than the seculars thought. You know, that for a long time the seculars treated us as if we were non-entities and just kind of not worth considering.
But there's something else at work here. For many millions of readers, the story the Left Behind books tell, the story of the end, is no abstract question. It's real, and it's almost here, and Tim LaHaye agrees.
Is the Antichrist among us now, do you think?
I've been asked that question many times, and I've been inclined to think that he could be. We are getting close. Now, whether he's a small child, or a teenager, or an adult, a government figure, no one knows.
The author, Tim LaHaye. Well, looking ahead now to tonight's television edition of Nightline, imagine if your health insurer or employer decided that if you wanted to have some important surgery, you needed to go to India, and they'd foot the bill. Well, that's what happened to one American woman we followed on her passage to India. That's tonight. And that's today's Internet edition of Nightline. Thanks for downloading us. I'm Terry Moran. For all of us at ABC News, all the best for the rest of your day.
The president was hit. He is in stable condition.
It is the worst disaster in the history of the American space program.
I've never seen a royal wedding like this.
O.J. Simpson wanted on 2 counts of murder.
Relive the most dramatic days in history with ABC News. Download The Day It Happened today at iTunes.